Yeah. We back. It's Monday.
Happy Monday.
Glorious Monday.
For sure.
Not just any Monday.
Beautiful market Mondays. How y'all doing?
It's good. Yeah, we got the band all together.
Glad to be back in the city.
The band is back.
Ian is out here.
Same band as Snowman.
In the flesh.
Moving.
And yes, he has a Scully on. It's that cold out here right now.
I was shocked when my Lord.
It really is that cold.
Moving and grooving. Okay. So it's a lot to talk about, a lot going on in the world. First and foremost, happy birthday.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Shout out to everybody that showed all that birthday love today. I definitely needed it, man. It's been a trying couple of days, but I appreciate it. Shout out to all the Pisces out there. It's definitely our season. There's a couple other Pisces. I'll shout them out later in the show, but greatly appreciate the birthday love, man. It's been real.
Of course, been your legend, icon, amazing father. You call me and shotty down a lot. You know what I mean? We don't listen all the time,
He's
but
my favorite. I appreciate all y'all, man. Yeah. It's all good, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up to Carnegie Hall last week.
Yeah.
An incredible conversation.
Iconic.
That was dope. We had Shotty's birthday party right after that.
Iconic.
I mean, it's been a great couple of days. Shout out to Woodlands, our old high school, my old alma mater. You know, Shotty was too good. He left us. Yeah, he took his talents to prep school.
Oh,
yeah. He took his talents to prep school, but they playing for the chip next weekend. So shout out to them.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, it's been an eventful weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot going on in the world. Tune in to Blackout this week. Gonna be spicy, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Thursday we have a dope interview. We'll talk about that later on in the show, but tune in Thursday for the interview as well. So
you gonna tell them what's happening on Blackout? You're not even gonna tell them?
Well,
yeah,
we might have to call an audible.
Okay.
Okay. We'll discuss after.
Okay.
We'll discuss after.
Okay.
Omaha?
Maybe. It's you never know.
Okay.
You never know.
All right. Makes sense.
But we
I
do
was
have
wondering the same thing, though.
I'm like, damn. I definitely would have told him.
But we do have Carolyn Arison this Thursday for EYL 6:00. She's a dope. I think she's like a billionaire or close to it. So you know Fat Joe and they got the Rwanda time.
Yep.
She owns the company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a mogul. Like when she walked in the room, you felt mogul.
Yeah.
And then as we did the interview, I was like, damn, this is really a mogul. And then when she explains how she runs the business, it's like stamp.
Yeah. Latina, Puerto Rican. And yeah, she's been in the beauty space for years.
Okay.
Women's hair, and part of her portfolio of products is that Rwanda time.
Rwanda.
That Khaled and Fat Joe and Nori, he's an ambassador now as well. I think Kelsey too.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey, Tyson Beckford, Earn Your Leisure soon to be.
The equities, though.
Equity. These bands, I mean, why not at this point?
Why fight the time when you can rewind it?
This is true.
So yeah, check that out, 6:00. And Troy, you got an options class. Thursday,
I do.
Yeah.
We are back. We are back this Thursday. There's a lot to talk about. I've been talking to some corporate people. We'll leave the company's names anonymous, but yeah, I got to report to the people what some of these conversations have been. I know a lot of people have been watching the market over the past few weeks, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's fallen," which is why we invest in strong companies. But sometimes when the insiders talk to you, you take notes, and I definitely did that. But I'm gonna share what EYL University this Thursday, so make sure you're there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Ian, any announcements?
If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com. Listen, I don't have to tell y'all why to join. If I made you money, please put us in chat. Let that be the preponderance of proof. No stock club call this week. We'll be back next week. And I love y'all. Let's have an amazing show.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's get it.
Oh. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen.
I love this.
We are interrupting our regularly scheduled program.
Much needed, much necessary.
Hey, thank you, honey.
This is
Birthday.
love. Yo.
This is, you know what, man? A happy wife is a happy life. And these are the rewards. So shout out to my Danielle, thank you. Hair's looking lovely. See you later, little lady. But I appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to the birthday love. Am I supposed to eat this right now? What am I supposed to do with this? I'm gonna put it on the side. Nah. I'm gonna be respectful. I'll put it on the side. I'll eat a strawberry though.
There you have it.
Oh,
Birthday vibes.
There we go. That's a first.
Impromptu.
that's fire.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start this thing.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. Disclaimer.
Man, y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Y'all know how this works. Continue to do the research, continue to share the research, and when it's good research, tell the people where you got it from. Yep. That's how we build community. That's how we show love. That's how we grow. That's how we make money. Absolutely. That's what we're here to do. So keep doing that, y'all. Love is love.
Okay. Okay. So where should we start? Let's start with futures trading tip for the week.
Shout out to the two members in Red Panda that made over 200 grand on last Thursday. I'm proud of y'all. I know y'all see me out here shaking and moving. I haven't left my core, and neither have they. So I'm proud of y'all. When these moves happen to the downside, it helps to have 4 EMAs on your chart.
Which one are you using?
50, 72, 200, 420.
Okay.
Which I gave away at InvestFest.
Yeah.
The key point, though, is when you're short in the market, you wanted to try and hit all 4 levels. The 400 is a little bit tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, you can have it fall through 3 levels. Because a lot of times, if you're shorting, people are like, when do I get out? 50 is the first mark. 200 is the second mark. Mm-hmm. 72 is the second mark. If it gets to the 200-day moving average and we're falling there, you can start to look to exit. But when we have these big drops and everyone's like, the world is falling apart, it's really important to take advantage of the moves because you can make more money trading to the downside than you can the upside. Trading has considerable risk. Both people who made that amount of money, they've been trading for 3 years plus. It's going to take you time to get there. But if the market is falling apart and there's weakness in the market, which Trump is going to give us, given his economic plans and policies, you have to take advantage of the move. So
yeah, and I think that goes true for future trading, options trading as well. Yep. And especially when we look at those EMAs, and a lot of the companies that we speak about have hit their 20-day, right? Some of them have gotten down to their 50. I know you said the 72.
Yeah.
What do you do when that happens, right? Like a lot of people will be hesitant, right? They'll have these notes written down. And it's like, oh, it hit the 72-day, and they don't take action.
You got to take action.
You got to take action. It's the most important thing. Like, it's good to write the notes and it's good to study the notes, but if you're not actually applying the notes, then what's the point? So these are not just things that are exclusive to futures. It's the same thing in options. And so like when it hits those metrics, when we see a Palantir, and we'll talk about a couple other companies that we're watching that have pulled back 10, 15%, there shouldn't be a question hey, is this the time I should buy? Yep. If you've been following and you've been listening to what we've been saying, and it hits every metric, then you already know it's time.
And this applies to Bitcoin, which we'll talk about, but we told you what area to buy, and
it got down to 79.
Did you take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Like when I saw that black post with the white type on, I said, Shotty about to go off. Like, it's easy to listen to the information. Sometimes it's hard to execute, but the execution pays a hell of a lot more.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. So Elon Musk, Tesla. So there was a tweet said they had like projections of the next 5 years for 3 different companies. Amazon, over the next 5 years, they predicted growth of 137%.
Mm-hmm.
They predicted growth of 193% for Nvidia over the next 5 years and 258% growth for Tesla. So Elon retweeted it and he said it will require outstanding execution, but I think more like 1,000% gain for Tesla in 5 years is possible. So Elon said with outstanding execution, Tesla can actually reach 5,000% rate of return and in the next 5 years. Is that possible?
I don't see the outstanding execution being possible, given that he isn't as focused as it used to be. And I don't see him and Trump getting along past 24 months. That looks like a shotgun political wedding. One of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, but the market likes stability. And the person that is in office doesn't often give that. And Elon has not given too much stability either. Listen, I love Elon as an entrepreneur, not as a person. But when your T ends up on Shade Room, like you're a rapper, 1000% growth is out of the way. I like silent CEOs who just execute. You don't hear much about Jensen's personal life. We don't hear much about Satya's personal life. So 1000% is going to be very tough to achieve over 5 years.
I'm with you. 1000% would put the stock over $3,000 a share if there's no split in between that time.
Yeah.
We've seen Tesla run up to over 1,000 before. This would put it over somewhere around the 3 trillion mark. They actually went under 1 trillion last week. Again, Tesla is an interesting company, right? Because we look at it as a technology company. Some people look at it as an automotive company, but it really isn't relying on car sales. And we've kind of seen that pullback since the inauguration. It was that great run up to 440, and then last week it pulled down to under 300.
Yep.
And when the numbers start to not make sense, things like this happen. And so what's the innovation? Is the autonomous driving. I know that, over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be some news coming out where they're applying to have autonomous taxis in some states. And so Uber obviously is on notice for that. But is that enough? Are the autonomous cars, are the robots enough to push that valuation higher when you have a few other companies that are going to come in and investors are going to be looking forward to, a la SpaceX and obviously Starlink's inside of there. Neuralink will be coming down the line. So I think those companies have the potential to have that maximum nearly 4-digit growth over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm just not sure that Tesla necessarily has it.
What do you think, Rashad?
No,
I've been a great predictor of these things.
I think Elon will say anything. He's like Trump. He'll say anything. And Tesla, they have no reason to go up why they went up last time. In the last couple of months, there was no particular reason why they actually deserve to go up.
Yeah.
So, I think that he's a great marketer, salesman.
For sure.
Even for him to retweet it, he only retweeted because Tesla was number 1 on that list.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see any catalyst that would propel Tesla 1,000% in 5 years. Like what have they done to deserve that type of valuation?
Yeah. We'd have to, just to add to what you're saying, how does the EV space look in 5 to 10 years? Is it because there's more stations? Is it because they're selling more parts? Like those things might be a catalyst, right? Like if everybody decides that, the most efficient EV battery is a Tesla battery, we have to use it. Or if they have something that now charges solar homes throughout the US, it would be like for Tesla specifically, not the other companies, but specifically for Tesla. If those things start to ramp up, which we haven't seen, then I could see a 300% gain. 1,000 that's
a stretch. Yeah, because you're saying basically you're better than Eli Lilly, Nvidia, and the real Palantir, and you're not there. You better than TSM?
Are you more needed?
No.
Right.
No.
Like
ever since he did that valuation.
Yeah. Are you needed in this era of of technologies in terms of Tesla? The other things will be for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm not sure if the autonomous robot is needed just yet.
Well, we'll see. We'll monitor the situation. One thing I forgot to mention, this Saturday we'll be in Hampton, Virginia.
Yeah.
VA, stand up. We'll put the link in the description of this video. But get there, get your tickets. Shout out to everybody. Financially Motivated and Unstoppable Forum. We will be speaking in Hampton, VA. First time that we'll be in Virginia doing an event. So if you're in the greater Hampton, Virginia area, 7 cities, I believe that's what they call it. Come out, VA. We will be in your area. So looking forward to that. And then another thing I wanted to say too about You Deserve to Be Rich. We changed the audio book.
Wait, what?
So the audio book was read by myself and Troy. And I didn't really like the way that I narrated it.
Okay.
So that's an important lesson in life. You gotta be a perfectionist. So I thought that it would be better suited for the user experience to have a professional, because I listen to audiobooks a lot. So I wanted to have a professional at least do my part. So we redid it with a professional. So anybody that is interested, there's a new version on the audio.
Smart. You did the Kanye.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Uploaded the new one.
Left me out there.
So and a few people, you know, there was some criticism to the audio version as far as the reading.
Yeah,
they wasn't particularly happy.
You know, but I mean, I think that transparency is important, right? Like, so if you even say that, it just shows like just being transparent and always putting our users first. But a lot of people are like, "Hey, he's not a teacher. Like, you sound like a teacher because you're reading for the students." So like for him to do it and say like, "You know what? I did my best. I wasn't happy with it. Let's change it." I was like, "Nah, let's keep it." But you know, he wasn't happy with it, so he did. So the honesty, the transparency is what I'm really proud of for this moment.
Yeah, you know, you got to always keep the user in mind. The user is always the most important person in the system.
Their experience matters more.
The user's experience is the most important aspect of it. And you know, something that's going to be evergreen. This is going to last for 5, 10, 20 years down the line, right? So you want to make sure you have the right product. And that's sometimes if something is not right, you have to fix it.
Gotta go fix it.
It's like a recall on a car, or you know.
Yeah, so a quick update.
Yeah. So for anybody that's interested, if you can leave a review on the audio, that would be helpful. A positive review, because there was a few negative reviews on the audio.
I'm still there.
Okay.
I'm still there. But so the brand is there.
Got you.
But it's still the same information. It's still the same text. It's just it's read by a professional as opposed to read by me. And that does say something about having professionals do things, because you know people get paid for something for a living, for a reason. And it's not as easy as you would
imagine it to
be. So I think that it will be I think it's gonna be a better audio experience to people. And
there's nothing like that.
Apologies to anybody that may have had some level of discomfort listening to the first version, but we have changed it. So hopefully you'll have a smoother listening experience this time around.
I know people read in their head a lot, right? Like even with audiobooks, people are listening to, and then sometimes they get the actual literature in front of them and they read along. Or some people will read in their comfort in their own home, but they never like have the auditory sound of reading.
For sure.
And so now imagine like you're reading and there's like 5 people listening to you.
And you have to be performative.
Be performative, right?
Yeah.
And you got to pronunciate, and you got to make sure that every sentence is formatted correctly. And if you mess up, it's like, stop, let's do that again. And then imagine doing that for 11 hours over the course of 5 days.
Yeah. But
that's okay.
It is what it is.
That's what makes New York Times bestsellers.
It is what it is.
And then by the summer, you're going to get back in the booth.
We back. We back in the booth.
Nas on the book.
So the forward read to you by Nasir Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Okay.
Morgan Freeman. Not Morgan Freeman. The voice of God.
So crypto. Donald Trump yesterday, he announced U.S. strategic crypto reserve, including a few different cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano.
Yep.
And they all rose on the news. XRP was up 33%, Solana was up 22%, ADA was up 60%, and Bitcoin was up like 10%. They kind of pulled back from there now.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is interesting on a few different levels. So first, when we posted it, some people was like, well, I thought Trump was going to be bad for the overall economy. Well, it's a few things that
in a mocking way, though.
Yeah. So, well, this is educational for the audience. The price of crypto is not a determining factor of the economy.
Sure.
That's the first
or
thing.
the stock market.
Right. Yeah. That's the first thing. Second is that it's still down from all-time highs. Third thing is that it's a long-term cycle as far as everything is concerned. The fourth thing is that crypto is like, well, Bitcoin specifically is like the stock market. It's going to rise over the course of time, no matter what. That's why, like at the beginning of the year, that was my pick, was Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin is totally dependent on a president's seat or anything. Like it's kind of, that was the whole point of it, right? To kind of be isolated. Of course, it's going to help but I mean, it survived trying to get shut down in China. It survived Russia. It survived even Biden. He was kind of hostile towards crypto. So nothing could really stop Bitcoin, I think. So it's kind of like playing with semantics in that. But we're still in like a 1 day gain in crypto is not like a miraculous comeback for the economy.
Yeah.
Ray Dalio just put something, I don't know if you saw that, but he was like, they got 3 years to get this thing together as far as the budget, or we gonna be on life support.
In trouble. Yep.
So we'll see. Only time will tell. But at least it was a good day for crypto. There was something positive to report on because the markets has been down. Even the stock market is still kind of in a downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it was a good day for crypto yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we make of this news that what he said about the crypto reserves and all that?
I don't know if he actually cares about crypto. I think he may be playing to a certain base of the audience. If we can be very fair, I was happy to see Cardano added for my own personal reasons. Shout out to Caleb. But if we're going to be honest, the reserve should be Bitcoin only. Because here's the thing. If the government begins to buy it in the reserve, what happens when they liquidate it? They're going to tank the market.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Bitcoin is having this pullback and they invest that much into XRP and Cardano, they're going to rupture those markets when they eventually have to liquidate in 4 or 5 years. So I think he's playing to a certain base. Of course, David Sachs had the greatest influence over this, so I'm not mad at that. But I don't know if it's the right thing for us to do. And I know we want to be the crypto hub, but I'm very concerned about them trying to make an index with certain coins that may not should be in there.
Yeah. This it's interesting, right? So yes, we saw a great day yesterday, a slight pullback today, but he can announce this, right? And he can have Sachs as being the crypto czar, but it still needs congressional approval.
Yeah.
And so that's important, right? Because you can make executive orders, but when you're talking about financial structures being included and integrated inside of cryptocurrency, you're gonna need wide support from that. To say those coins, I'm with you, right? Like it always makes me think of what Novogratz is saying.
Yeah.
Right. Like he said Bitcoin, he said Ethereum, he said Solana. Those are the three. See, the other two added was like, okay, well, we've seen XRP, everything that's happened with the SEC and them saying what a security is and what's not. And then last week you're hearing that most meme coins aren't securities,
which is insane.
Which is like, okay, well, define meme coin. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I think we'll have more light shed on this on the 7th at the Crypto Summit, which is an inaugural. But this is not surprising, right? Like Trump spoke in Nashville last year at the Bitcoin conference because he wanted to get that base.
Absolutely.
And in order to keep
that base,
you needed that base
yep.
Because it's progressive. And so when you think about trying to keep that base at heat and saying, look, we heard you voted for us. Here's some of the initiatives. I want to see what they say on the 7th at this summit. Because I think Zach is going to speak and they're going to bring some more CEOs from crypto platforms. So that I'm circling that. I'm interested in hearing what comes from that. And
because Charles got boxed out and Cardano out of the crypto movement, him and Trump have become buddy, power of relationships. So he kind of worked that angle. Because if you're honest about it, I was very shocked to see them included. I can understand Solana, I can understand XRP, but it goes back to the power of relationships. I just don't know. Like, when is he going to bring the price of eggs down? You're focusing on everything but the core issue of inflation on everything. Yeah, and we said this. Before Sachs was named the crypto czar, there was some talk that it would be Charles. So it's interesting to see, like, all right, I know I didn't select you here, but I appreciate your loyalty. And I'm going to find a way. We'll find a way to make sure that you're included in this.
And just so we're clear, there's only one true cryptocurrency.
That's why I said define meme coins.
They be in my comments like Bitcoin's not even a cryptocurrency. You don't know,
because everything started. Bitcoin is the genesis of everything. It started with this story, the Satoshi Nakamoto, the decentralization. It's the beginning chapter of it, then everything came afterwards with a person that we know who started it. We know the board. We know that everything else is essentially centralized.
Yeah,
and.
Well, Bitcoin is too.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the origin story of it. So everything is an altcoin.
It's a hot take, but Cooking, go ahead.
No, they all
Everything's altcoin. It's
by definition, right? Alternative to Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is the sun. There's only one sun.
Yep.
Just so we're clear about
Maybe
this.
some moon and stars around, but
Yeah,
you're right.
Just so we're clear about
this
this.
galaxy for sure.
Yeah. And Vanguard agrees and BlackRock agrees.
Yeah, we can't argue with that.
But we'll see. But yeah, long term, I think you still have to be bullish Bitcoin, and the same principles apply. I'm gonna stop talking about Trump so much because I realize that Trump supporters, they are delusional, just like he is, and they're not rational.
Yeah.
And
You say thank you?
what?
You say thank you?
Wait,
He's right. No, he's right.
So it's one of these things that it's not a political show. So it's not really. I don't think it's even worth like having political debates about.
I agree.
We'll see how it plays out. I mean,
Is that because we're Democratic chills? Biden.
no matter what happens, people are gonna make an excuse for Trump. That's what I realized. So it doesn't even matter. But with that being said, Bitcoin's gonna go up no matter what.
For sure.
Will it pull back? For sure. Everything is very volatile. It's not something that is guaranteed to always go up every single month. But over the course of time, I think you got to have confidence in it. Now, all these other coins, I don't know. It's a question mark. They're all questionable.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show the power of holding for long term.
It also goes to show about executing. Like we literally sat on me and Shadi, we argued, right? Like, yo, what was the fallback price? He was like, it's 85. I'm like, nah, I think he said it was 79.
Yep.
It hit both.
Yep.
What did anybody do?
Cry. It's not going to get that low.
Nah, it's gonna keep falling. The next day it said 96.
Is it going back to 20? When I said it, y'all didn't want to believe it. No, just
Like, what did you do?
Nope. Shout to Kayla.
Shout out to Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
He said,
Just continue to buy, man.
I'm gonna just
Hold for
continue
the
buying.
long term.
So, okay. So speaking of switching gears a little bit, Nvidia reported last week. That was the news of the last week. And their stock is going down ever since. And,
well, it settled and then it opened and it tanked a little bit and then it closed. There was like a miraculous rally at the end of Friday and it got back up to 126 and then today, yeah, roller coaster ride again.
So we're seeing the whole chip sector, Nvidia
All apart.
hovering around 116. We see SMH down. The TSM is down 20. TSM is actually in bear territory. It's just down 20%. MU, all of these things are down.
Broadcom, yep. Oh,
So, and that's the broader stock market has continued to going down. The broader NASDAQ has gone down as well. So, Nvidia is pretty much free
Nvidia
falling.
negative year to date.
Yeah,
like 11%.
Yeah.
yeah, it's been free falling for a while now. So where are we at with Nvidia?
You should listen when I tell you some shit gonna fall apart. Shout out to Stock Club. If you want to know what the price of what to get in, go to eninvest.com. Most people in Stock Club know the real price. I see it's getting below 105. You might want to look to invest there, but okay, public service announcement. The chip trade is over. It's done.
No, yeah.
It's a good investment.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real.
Okay.
It's a great investment long term, but for everyone who missed out on the last 2 years, you're not going to get 700% return off of this trade anymore. And there's a lot of geopolitical concern about if they're smuggling chips into China. We have to have a real conversation while he's focusing on tariffs that don't matter. We have a war, a technological war going on with China that we could lose. We've seen Chinese stocks starting to take off.
Yeah.
And hedge funds are rotating to potentially get in the bubble.
Well, that's why I don't think the chip trade is done.
It's only going to be a few. Nvidia is one of the ones who are going to do well.
So they're going to be played.
They're going to be good.
So I won't go that far. I don't think it's done. I think what we're seeing, obviously, we talked about how the Fed has an impact on
For sure.
the market. There was supposed to be 2 rate cuts. Now there might be 1. The lingering tariffs on these countries is weighing on the economy. Like if we're going to like that weighs on the economy. DeepSeek still had an impact, even when we were talking about the AI conversation at Carnegie Hall backstage with some of the leading people in AI. we can say it had an impact.
Had an impact.
But it
the
was
real threat.
But it was overblown.
Yeah, it was overblown.
It was overblown.
But it was a Trojan horse. The real concern is all of China teaming up together at the right time to thwart how well we're doing.
And here's what I'm thinking, and it hit me the other night when we talked about all these CEOs going to the White House to speak, and we were like, Zuckerberg was there, right? And he was there. Everybody was there, and then Jensen went. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why are these guys going? Why are these guys going? At some point, do you think they discussed tariffs to China? Because
what you have to,
right? This is probably like one of the prime conversations that they're having. When I looked at the ecosystem of Nvidia, prior to the Biden administration putting a ban on advanced chips going to China, that was 20% of their business.
That's a huge part of the business.
So now think about it. That's over the past 3 years. Nvidia has had this run without that China component in it.
Yep.
Can you imagine what that looks like when you get some of that business back? Even if it's not the Rubin, even if it's not Blackwell.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out how the Hopper got in there. 200,000 of them allegedly. We don't know how they got in there.
French Montana,
right?
Off the boat.
we got to figure that part out. But I know he's saying 10% and then he's at another 10%. But at a certain point, the president is a businessman.
Yeah.
And he has to know if he has these tariffs in place. Yes, you're trying to make a stand, but you're hurting Americans' greatest companies. Apple's going to be affected. Nvidia is going to be affected. Microsoft, and we've seen it. We've seen them pull back. They're going to be affected. So I don't think the chip trade is done. I think we got to figure this out, right? Like I think the tariffs go into effect tomorrow for Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
And I think the China ones start this week as well.
Why are we selling our greatest technology to China? Unless we know the game's over anyway. That's the point we have to talk about. If you want to ship Blackwell and our best chips to China, it's one or two scenarios. Either Jensen doesn't care about America, which isn't true for the record, or a lot of people on the inside know that the America trade is over and we got to find a way to get every dollar we can, hence a $5 million citizen card. This is real
global business
war,
right?
And this BRICS trade is heating up. That's why Zelensky got so much heat. There's a lot of like the DeepSeek thing, like you said, was overblown. I think the concern is if that big seven in China, can they beat our big seven? And right now it's looking like yes.
So that would be the thing. Where would be the spend if it's not coming from American business? That you would have, like China would be that place, right? You're not looking at India just yet.
Not yet.
EU, not really. Africa doesn't have the infrastructure. So you kind of are looking at that space, right? If we look at where all those Mag 7s are spending, right? We had that chart. I think you posted it.
Yeah.
Where their CapEx is going. I mean, there's a clear sign that is pointing to this company.
Yep.
That goes by the name of Nvidia. I think Microsoft was over 20 billion last quarter.
Yeah, insane.
Like everybody is coming. So I don't think that trade is over. Yes, there's been some pullback, but it's one of these things. When you talk about growth over a quarter of 79%.
And that's not good.
Well, I think the trade is like as far as
the entire semi space.
Right.
But they lead that.
You have to look at it from this standpoint. Like, okay, Nvidia's down 25% from its high. Right. Do you think in 4 years it'll be higher than it is today? Yes.
100%.
Right. Then that would be a good investment. Now, do you think in 6 months, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, 3 months. So if you're trading it, you have to be careful because long-term projections are positive. You would have to think that if you invest now, it's a good investment
for sure
because that's going to double at some point.
Yep.
But there's still a lot of uncertainty in the economy. And that's the thing that is like, it's one thing like the sector and how much you produce it and how much, but when the economy crashes, none of that matters.
At all.
If there's a global recession or if there's an economy crash, then every number could be good and your projections and forecasting, it's not going to matter.
But are there any signs of a recession?
Here's the funny part. Now I give the Trump team's credit.
Okay.
Because the Democrats got their ass kicked so bad in this election, the media is going to report if we actually hear a recession this time. Last time they didn't. They changed the skew for what a recession was. If he get 2 negative quarters,
Yeah.
it's going to be on every channel in America. He caused a recession.
But there hasn't been signs of it, right? If we even look at
We have weakening in the bond market.
the bond market,
Yeah.
I'm just we're talking about the S&P, and for the last quarter, I think on average is about 13% on earnings, which is a positive sign. Right?
Very
That wouldn't be a sign of an economy that is headed toward a recession.
Yeah.
Is there a pullback in this sector? For sure. So even if we looked at the next 6 months, yeah, the economy, it's really what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks when we figure out what's going to be the impact of these tariffs, who they're going to impact, and how do we combat that.
The lead that he had from the inauguration is gone.
Yes, that all those
That's
gains have
scary.
been
That alone is scary. And if he doesn't right that ship, we may drop another 12 or 13%.
as the S&P or a specific company.
The stock market is not a direct correlation of a recession. It's a lagging indicator.
Yeah.
We have unprecedented territory that we're walking in right now. He's talking about putting tariffs, global tariffs, pretty much EU, China, Mexico, and Canada. So you putting tariffs on everybody, pretty much. Those are all every global major power you putting tariff on. That's one thing. There's uncertainty as far as the geopolitical aspect of it, as far as Ukraine, and he said he wants to turn Gaza into a resort. That got Saudi Arabia mad.
Who even says that?
The job numbers,
Light.
fishy
Inflation has come down.
for now. They said that there's a new virus that came out of China.
COVID-22 already been whooped up.
Variety of different factors that's in the play here.
Yep.
So
COVID-22.
and spending. It's like this Doge thing. This could be extremely harmful to America.
The cutbacks?
Yes, because it's like
It's too rapid.
you can't lose. It's like weight loss, right?
Yeah.
If you lose too much weight too fast, that can actually be harmful to you.
Absolutely.
Shocks your body. You gotta lose like 5 pounds. You can't just lose 87 pounds in 1 week.
Yeah.
That's
Cut
dangerous.
your leg off to lose 40 pounds.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Causes complications.
For real.
So it's like you putting a shock into the economy by just trying to cut hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting how this thing plays out. But I tell you what, if the economy is in turmoil, none of the numbers are going to matter.
Not as much. And the ones that are great are going to rise to the top, and there's going to be a super hyper concentration into the ones
But
Microsoft, Nvidia.
yeah, that's what I feel like that's what we've seen.
Yeah.
Even during the past 3 to 4 years, when you looked at the Russell 100 and those were not moving.
And technically, this is supposed to be a down year. And like we said, historically, the first year of a presidency is pretty flat. The second year of a presidency is down.
Yeah.
And the third year of a presidency is up. So
I think he rewrites these books though, bro.
yeah, until he doesn't.
Right. I don't know.
History repeats itself usually.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, he had a great chance to come out to a great start and lead well.
Yeah.
The decisions were just horrible.
But now he has to live on. He's living on the things that he said.
But
We're going to tax them. We're going to tax them. We're going to tax them.
He's not a rational person. He's doing a variety of irrational things.
Yeah.
He's doing a variety of irrational things, right? You can only do irrational things for so long.
Yeah. I'm with you. The uncertainty is not great. It's not good. Doesn't help anybody.
Like the things that he's doing are dangerous.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Keep investing.
But you have to hold long-term investment. But just for clarity,
not trade. Keep investing.
You keep. Like I said, if you have Nvidia at this point, you have to like it.
Yep.
You have to like Bitcoin in the 80s, or if it might probably dip back down again. If it gets to the 80s, 70s, you have to like it if you believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you think it's going to go to 150, then buying it in the 80s is a good deal.
Yeah.
Buying it in the 70s is a better deal, right? You have to. So, no, Microsoft will go up in the next 10 years, right? It's a strong possibility that Microsoft will go up in 10 years.
And that's what I'm saying. And Microsoft has been consolidating over the past 6 months.
So you have
Nvidia has been consolidating over the past 6 months.
You have to hold.
signs that are there.
Yep. Right. And that's why I said when we're looking at moving averages for those companies, they're starting to hit those numbers that we thought they would, right? On the natural pullback, right? Not even a correction, just a pullback. Every analyst, right? If we look at from an analytical standpoint, nobody has lowered their price target. Even for a company like Nvidia, right, that has pulled back 25% from its high, the price target for the end of the year is still 175.
Yeah,
consensus
for sure. Because a lot of the hedge fund money is going to start to flow in
consensus
this month, for sure. So, but it will be a lot choppier. Even looking at the chart, and
Bitcoin.
Yeah, 72,000 is possible. A couple of mistakes because the outflows in ETFs are going up higher than we've ever expected.
Well, this is one of those weeks, like we talk about catalyst events. Like I said, the announcement of it alone, we saw it run from 80 to 95. Who knows what will be said at that summit?
Imagine if BlackRock wasn't the lead investor in it now. Who would have felt a fucking 48? First 48.
Too big to fail.
But hold for the long term and you will be A-okay.
Please.
But the era of I'm going to just put in money in Nvidia, Supermicro, anywhere, that's over with. That's over with. You just going to buy Micron at the top, you're going to die.
Don't buy anything at the top.
Nope. So, and you got to learn how to short the market. If you can only play one way and only trade one way, it's not going to work in your favor. And it'll offset some of those losses that you have in long term, and you'll be able to hold through that. So okay. Some
Russell 1000 stocks with largest increase in number of hedge fund owners during Q4 2024.
Great question. Somebody asked me this, and they asked me about rotating to the Russell 1000. And I was going to come and give 3 or 4 companies, but given the volatile nature of leadership, I think it would be irresponsible to do so now if you haven't had a position in them already. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get in it, and he's going to say something crazy, or him and Putin are going to get into it, and the market's going to go in free fall, and it's going to burn through all your stop losses. Until we have a plan to actually make America great again, I don't think you should invest outside of the top 20. Okay. I think it's irresponsible, including Bitcoin. If you go get a Russell 2000 company, you could see 25% drawdown in 1 month, given how volatile this market is.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I'm not going to disagree with you on your birthday.
And he has State of the Union tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah.
And if he might do that salute there, Tesla going to drop.
Will they have him in attendance, you think?
For sure. If my kid put a book on your desk, I'm going to everything until we fall out. What?
We good forever?
First 18 months.
Yeah, I put the number one company that's been added from hedge funds in the Russell 1000. It's a company we spoke about last week and a CEO that we've sat down with a few times.
Yep.
And that's Robinhood.
Great company.
It's interesting. When I looked it up, Tesla was inside of there too.
Yeah.
And I know, we have a certain feeling about the CEO, but the fundamentals of the company itself, it sits inside. It was a number 3 added company to hedge funds. But Robinhood is an interesting story. We watched it pull back. We watched that run up during the crypto kind of mania into 2021, and we saw what they have in store for this year and the next year. Those growth prospects and their underlying business has excited a lot of people, and the stock has, been rewarded for that.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one.
I like that he's been more forward facing, up $32 over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just saying this because Vlad is a friend of the show, but they've innovated in a lot of ways. I'm just worried about in a week, Trump, JD Vance saying something that can turn the market in a negative fashion and erase everybody's gains.
Yeah.
So,
right. And I think that goes into which is why I like Robinhood, is Shotty's point where, yes, those companies, if Trump does something, that does affect it. But a lot of people trade crypto on Robinhood.
Yep.
And for the first few quarters, that was where the growth was coming from. So as long as they have that as something that you can trade, whereas if I go to Fidelity or if I go to not even Fidelity now, but E-Trade, right? I can't do that from my brokers just yet.
Yeah.
So they have that advantage. And that trades 24 hours a day. And the more influx, like I said, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks with the crypto space. I would assume that more people will be using that as a brokerage if they're going to be traded. If they're trying to do both trade equities and trade crypto.
Vlad, call Big T.
Appreciate you.
So you can lock in. No, gains you got because you made a hell of a comeback.
Definitely made a comeback.
Has he been to Mar-a-Lago or DC yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. And then maybe they were talking about betting, right? Like as another source. Like we can't just sleep on that.
Yeah.
Like those prop bets. I know it became something popular during the election, but like, no, that was just the gateway into saying like, hey, we can start investing on anything.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How do you think the State of the Union will affect the market?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrified. Just like me watching that tank fight this weekend. I'm like, please don't die in front of us, my brother. I'm going to be watching, but I know he's going to say, Tank, if I see you, I want to smoke. But Trump's going to say something to negatively affect us in the market, for sure. I think we've seen his track record enough to know. And for all the Trump supporters watching, I'm not bashing them. I'm just telling you how these commentaries will affect the market. And once again, I don't know, as a person who keep up with the markets every day, when I'm reading all the news and newspapers, I don't know what the plan is. It changes so much, you don't have a clear view other than the Project 2025 stuff that y'all said that wasn't going to happen. And it's
surprise.
So, but yeah, I think the market is going to react to it. Will we have a big pullback because of it? No, but if he doesn't show a strong plan for the economy for the next 2 years, I don't think it'll be good for the market. Like Nvidia reported positive growth and they treated it as if they failed.
And they're up to scale with the production of Blackwell.
Blackwell, it's like you can't have a company print 100% growth quarter over quarter unless it's a Ponzi scheme. So if that company is getting bad reviews according to the market with those kind of numbers, everyone else
nobody's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe at that point.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the topics are. Does defense come up? And if defense comes up, we've given stocks that you should be looking at in terms of defense. When it comes to efficiency in terms of energy, I'd be interested to hear anything on that. Obviously, semis is something that he's spoken about with TSM coming in, and now China saying that TSM has just been giving America everything in spite of them. I'll be interested to hear those three topics because he's been on a negative role when it comes to the market. It's like when he speaks, it's like, oh shit, here we go.
Every time
we got a whole hey, put your seatbelts on.
Yeah.
Like put your seatbelts on. We don't know what's going to happen, and I think that continues just because he's unpredictable and the uncertainty around the things he says. So we'll see, man.
You're the expert. What do you think will happen? Is this your foray?
I mean, he can go moderate. He can go, reserved, or he can, say some stupid stuff, which he usually does. But I think he'll be a combination of both.
He'll come in measured.
I can't see him conservative. I think
you'll come in conservative.
He tries to stop like that, and then he'll be like, wait.
And then it's going to go off the rail.
Something happens, and then he's like, he remembers who he is.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, we going off the prompter.
The problem with him is that he lacks discipline. And that's the dangerous part. Like even the Zelensky thing, that was,
What do you think of that? The interaction?
I think that it was done intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
He played to his base, and he played to Russia. It was done intentionally for sure, but it was ignorant for sure.
Kicked him out.
Very ignorant way he handled the situation. JD Vance, he
You're not whack 100.
JD Vance, the type of dude that you got to punch in the face because he's the little man. He's the little man talking shit. You should, and you can't really say anything because it's like you got the big homie there, and the little man is like behind his back, like jumping up, like instigating the whole thing.
Doing too much.
And then they got the minions talking about his suit and all that. And look, I'm no fan of this whole situation because I do feel like, we should focus on America first.
Yep.
So I'm not against that philosophy, and I don't like how we pick and choose who we want to help. So, but he picks and chooses for sure.
Elon don't wear a suit in the White House.
No, never, not once.
What?
But like I said, I mean, it's just, you know, all the shit is. Are you people gonna make money or not? Everything else is a distraction.
Yep.
All this stuff that he's doing right now is a distraction. Making English the official language of America, renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Like, are we making money or are we not making money? Everything else is a distraction. Like, we don't care about making English the official language of America and renaming the Gulf of America and posting on Twitter any chance that you get and just doing all this stupid stuff. It's like, yo, bro, like people's losing money. The stock market is down. Economy is on shaky ground right now.
People are more concerned than ever.
Like you playing games, but this not a game.
And these are not impactful wins. These are like preseason wins. Like, what does Gulf of America on a map actually do?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Does anybody visit the Gulf of?
You're just doing all this nonsense just to play to a base.
Over it.
Making English the official language of America. Was that necessary? To have a document to sign into order that English is the official language of America?
It's comical. At best. It's comical. Like, what are we talking about? Surprise. English is the official language. Okay.
Together, you know.
We're not at 100 days yet, man. So
you think you make a turnaround by day 100?
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. Yeah. Because what happens is we can say that we're going to do these things, but what we never hear is the retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does China say that they're going to now retaliate with?
Absolutely.
Obviously, we know we have leverage over some countries, Canada, Mexico, but China is not the same.
Not China.
Not the same.
Not India.
Not the same.
I mean, even with Novogratz said this. We said it. He said he thought that if Trump won, the stock market would go up immediately and then down low.
He did say that.
That's what he said.
He did say that.
So we'll see.
For all of you, he doesn't know crypto. He's a billionaire, bro. Like, you got to look at that net worth number and realize it means something. And there's also a lot of information that he may get that the public may never see.
Yeah, I mean, the access to information that those guys have
is different.
It's different. Like, we talked to Robert Smith for 15, 20 minutes. The depth of knowledge that he has is just by being in spaces. The fact that he even feels like he wants to share it was just like extremely humbled by that.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that he knows that he doesn't have enough time to tell us. Like, he has to go. Like, so trust me, if we get information and we share it, like,
please listen.
Fix the economy, man. That's all. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is a distraction.
Can we fix the economy being this much in debt? Like, I think Doge like I said, on the premise is a great idea. The execution of it, horrible. Needs to be, but how politics work, that's a whole nother discussion that I won't get into. It's going to be very hard to fix the economy. Especially if you look like where we came from like 96 and 2000. Like, how the hell did we get here? Almost like somebody was paid to make some changes.
But we're here. We're here now.
So coal has fallen more than 75% from its September 22 high and now trades at the lowest price in almost 4 years.
J. Cole, you next, and Freddie get mad.
Yo, easy, J. Cole.
Sorry, J. Cole.
J. Cole
the bigger lesson I want to cover is for all my traders, there's a lot of things you can trade. I think you need to stick to the ones that are going to go up and have the most value, like gold. Sometimes we can get too excited as traders to see this kind of news and we want to figure a way to play it. Like, the bond market is still in free fall. Coal is in free fall. Remember when lumber went up like crazy a few years ago? Mm-hmm. Still in free fall. I think the great lesson that we have to remember is that a asset trades in a primary direction for a long period of time. Do not go against that direction or you're going to end up dying, especially in a market where there's more turmoil. The more instability we have, the more assets we're going to have that go to the downside. Please be very careful.
This is a very, very good lesson in supply and demand.
Absolutely.
That's what this is, right? China, which was the largest economy for coal usage, has now decided to create their own.
Yep.
They've sourced their own. And so it leaves the countries that used to supply coal with an oversupply.
Yep.
And
nobody wants to
no demand. Problem number one. You got too much. The second thing is parts of the world with large economies are looking for renewable energy.
Yeah.
That old way of energy is
It's
no
not
longer
the way.
efficient for us. Problem number 2.
Yeah.
Those two things combined will when we talk about a 75% decline,
Leads to disaster.
it's a recipe for disaster. If people don't want it and they're finding new sources of energy that can be renewable, and the people that used to want it now produce their own and they're not relying on you, then you're going to be out of business.
Yep. We're having the same thing in cocoa. Like, listen, go look. I know sometimes you think we're being sensational. We're not. This geopolitical war with us versus China is upsetting a lot of markets. Please, because if they were one of our biggest partners and now they're turning our back on us because they're tired of our tricks, if we don't have anyone else to buy. That's why I kept telling y'all a few years ago, BRICS is really important. That's the real big 3. Like, if we don't have good relationship with India and China, things are going to go awry for us, and here we are.
So, okay. So Google dropped 16% in February, worst month in nearly 3 years, at 22 times earnings. So it's now the cheapest of the Mag 7. Is it time to start buying Google?
Google needs to be out of the Mag 7. I want to be clear. Google needs to be out of the Mag 7. Amazon listen.
Wait, who's replacing? Why are you like, all right, go ahead.
Shout out to everybody. Google.
Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, Tesla, and Google. All right, you taking Google out, who you playing?
Anybody. We can put in Schlumberger. You're not putting McDonald's. I don't care. Google. Where's the demonstration of the chip? I haven't even seen the chip. Amazon came out with a quantum chip. How the hell did you let Microsoft and Amazon beat you to the punch of some shit you thought of 9 years ago? One of the greatest companies ever. I know y'all gonna be like, yo, you said this but better. Listen, y'all do what y'all want to. Google should be out of the Mag 7. Is Google magnificent anymore?
Yes, man.
OpenAI is eroding their main business. If it wasn't for YouTube, Google would be done.
It would hurt.
It would.
But it's still here. It's still here.
Biden's still here. Don't mean he affected.
Well, why did they fall is the first part. And it's why you saw Microsoft pull back, right? When you tell people, look, we're going to spend $100 billion next year.
But that's not the only.
No, that's not the only reason. Well, we gotta.
Reason.
It's compounded. It's compounded. So the first thing is like, yeah, they said that they're going to spend $75 billion on AI. We don't know what the return on that is going to be just yet. Gemini is a good product. We can't deny that. It has rated as the most efficient search. This is true. This is not theory. This is not from my opinion. This is true. No, this is true. This is true. All right. Okay. Now, number 2, they did see a pullback in cloud computing.
For sure.
Right. So you went from 35% to 30% last quarter. Those type of when investors see any type of decline in a business area, that does not help a company. Right. So if we're saying like, hey, you know, that Chinese news thing, that was disruptive. Can we be more efficient with our spending? Does it really cost as much to do the things you're saying you're doing? It hurts the entire space. It hurts the entire space. So I can understand the pullback. I don't think this is a true $2 trillion company, bro.
Ladies, Google is the man who didn't live up to.
Should Tesla be there? Wait, should Tesla be there?
I've been saying Tesla should be out as well.
Oh, so there's a Mac 5 then.
Eli Lilly,
fantastic 5.
I've been saying 2 Tech 2 Index forever. I think it should be a core 4. But that's neither here nor there. Google has missed too many opportunities. OpenAI, we have to agree, is eating their lunch.
Yes.
There's a bunch of companies that are better and have given better returns. I don't think they have a leadership issue. I just don't think that they're focused.
I think it's a talent retention issue.
Gotta fix the culture.
Right? Because if what you're saying is 100% true, right? Like they were ahead of everybody.
By year.
And they have the engineers to do it. And those engineers have left and gone on and created a lot of the things that we use today in terms of the word in terms of the world of GBTs.
Yeah.
Why haven't they been able to retain that talent to create a product? Right? Like that's the thing, right? Like Microsoft, they have product. Apple has product. Meta has product. YouTube is the best product.
Yes.
But after that,
it's like search. Bro.
Shout out to my people at Google.
Shout out to everybody at Google. I think y'all amazing. I need to fix the culture. Meta's better. Microsoft is better. Apple is better. Eli Lilly is better. I'm sorry. I think they should be out of great company still. I just think they should be out of the Max 7. And the Max 7 trade over.
It went from Fang to Max 7.
Yeah, y'all got to come up with something else now. So Microsoft, Apple, you need Google for a MAGA trade, but we need another company with a G. Suffer with.
But when you say that they don't have product, what do you mean by that? They don't have product?
They don't have hit products that have been innovative in like the last, 10 years. Because they ushered like the quantum idea was their idea.
That's them.
All this Chat GPT,
that's them.
Was their idea.
Yeah.
What about the phone?
Is that so?
It's okay.
Is it when we think of phones, especially in America? Where is it at? It's trailing the iPhone.
Well,
sure.
outside of America,
but that's what I'm saying. The brand dominance here is
dwindling.
It's that, and I'm not even talking from a quality standpoint because not even probably. And shout out to everybody at Google again. But the quality of the product is probably better than the iPhone, right? Like probably right. But Apple just has a brand dominance that people believe it, stand by, and have a retention for.
Like
it's
AI
been the Google Pixel.
Was the natural evolution of search. They missed that whole. It'd be like if we let Vlad go colonize Africa.
They had it. Artificial intelligence is theirs. It was theirs.
10 years ago.
Right. Like that's what I'm saying. So like Microsoft had Microsoft's Office, right? And then it became Copilot. That's a product, right? Like now ChatGPT, we already know that is a. I mean, we can say that's a Microsoft product.
Kurzweil when I had him on payroll and dropped the ball. Microsoft didn't even care about AI for the last 5 years. Like, so.
Okay. So, all right. This one.
You kicked them out. And we're going to remember this.
What I do?
This one I'm sure people will be interested in. What are some top stocks to watch right now because they are close to their buy price?
I think Nvidia is going to be very close.
Got them
to getting there. We got to talk about the Chinese investment. I think Alibaba and Tencent are at a point where we need to start.
Alibaba's on a run, like 56%.
It's going to pull back.
Yeah,
it's going to pull back.
Okay.
Them Tencent, and I think Pfizer is finally at a price where some things may turn around if they have. I'm hearing some news about a potential drug and them being out of the slumps. If that turns around, I think that can be one as well. And then once again, when Bitcoin pulls back, but please listen this time. Like this fall back from Bitcoin is not over.
I'm with you on those. I'm gonna add Microsoft in there. When you're talking about the 52 week high was 456, we're trading down almost under 390 at this point.
Yep.
Microsoft is getting that territory. I had Broadcom.
Yeah, Broadcom.
I think, and they'll be reporting, and we'll talk about that a little later. What companies they'll be reporting this week. Shadi, I think you'll like this one. I think MicroStrategy is in that space where we've watched it pull back to a point, and I know like 25% was my market. It's actually falling below that, and we know how Bitcoin moves in cycles. Now, it's like a risky trade. It's a risky trade or a risky investment just because of the fundamentals of how that company's being run. But if we're talking just about price and price entries, I think it's there. Yeah. And then I had Kava.
MicroStrategy is dependent on Bitcoin. So
but
if Bitcoin continues to drop, MicroStrategy is going to drop too.
Exactly. That's what I said. It's like it's one of these risky investments. And I put Kava in terms of share price. Yeah. And so I had option close on it, but now I'm actually interested in buying the shares because I did watch their earnings. Everything was positive. It's just that the economy is on a downturn right now. So those are the ones I would put.
MicroStrategy at 219. I like.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it's close.
It's trending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Tesla. I put Tesla.
Fake news. You got to fall a little bit more for me to. Elon's too volatile, man.
We're at 285. Like On December 17th, it was at 480.
What can somebody in the comments put the date when he did the salute?
That would be
if I could have shorted the stuff.
Well, and he's losing market sentiment, and he's losing
absolutely in Germany, yeah,
all over the Europe,
the world, yeah.
Like,
and they're getting beat. BYD is kicking their face in China right now.
Right, but to the point,
Carlos Slim, he lost the contract for Starlink in Mexico.
Carlos Slim lost it?
Huh?
You say he lost it?
Carlos Slim pulled the
telecommunications. That's great. So people don't even know who Carlos Slim is. We were actually talking about this with some students. He was worth $75 billion, and people have never heard of him. Telecommunications in Latin America. Giant.
Elon started playing games with him. And he pulled the plug on him.
Yep.
$6 billion lost in a day. So he's burning too many bridges. He's making too many enemies. Sure. He's being too political, and it's hurting his companies.
Yeah.
Which is why we're at 280.
And during a time, because I know some people are going to say, well, there's been other leaders that have been braggadocious or arrogant like him, and it worked out. What we also had 0 interest rates at that time,
and he's gonna have to pay for this 4 years from now too, because there will be a Democrat for the next president, and they're gonna
revenge.
He's gonna feel the wrath of what he's done. So that's why most of these guys play the political game, and they just kind of he's made a decision to go ultra one side, and eventually this situation is going to turn around. That's going to be harmful to him. Year to date, harmful to his companies.
Yeah, year to date, Tesla's down $93, and it's went from, like you said, 436 in 2024 down to 286. But say sorry, it helps. Here's a noble idea. Most companies or people around the world don't want to support a project that is tied to anything Nazi related. Board Ape Yacht Club, y'all learn this lesson the hard fucking way too. Sorry.
Surprise. It's down 25% on the year.
Bear territory.
Yeah, that's a correction. That is a correction.
And you better go pay the baby mama off if she end up with 50. Tell all doc.
Number 13.
Bruh.
13.
Tell me about it.
It's a lot.
Discipline is key.
That's a lot.
Discipline is key.
13 is a lot.
Any international stock recommendations?
I don't think we talked enough about Spotify. Despite the stuff that Drake has went through, he was at WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber in Toronto.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Travis Scott was there.
Straight up.
I wonder if they crossed paths.
Nav was there. It was a lot of Toronto drama, but Spotify has done incredibly well. And for all the Kendrick fans, like, I think the Spotify trade being owned by the big three, it's up $337 over the last year, and over the last 2 years, it's up $483.55. I know Apple is a big competitor, but I use Spotify. They've done a great job of turning this around. 53-week high is 652. The 52-week low was 249. Just a hell of a turnaround, and I think it's underlooked. If this was an American company, I think we would talk about this a lot more, and I think they're doing a lot better job than Apple Music is as a whole. So Spotify is one to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you mentioned it, Mercado Libre. We always talk about it, but I don't think people are really like investing in it. It's up 20% year to date.
Super
bullish. Super bullish. This is one of those models where we've seen this work here in terms of Amazon. Similar characteristics. And so you see the growth potential from that company. I think that's definitely one of those ones that I don't know if they'll split anytime soon. I know it trades over $2,000 a share.
Yeah, I don't know if
and we kind of said the same thing about Amazon when we saw that run up to 2,000. It was like, yeah, but Bezos never splits. It hasn't split during his run as CEO. And then finally he steps down and Jassy says, all right, we're going to do a split. So we'll see what Mercado Libre does. But I think you got to watch Baba too.
For sure.
You got to watch Alibaba. I'm not the hugest fan of Chinese stocks. But it's one to watch, especially when they're talking about the investment inside of artificial intelligence. And we know as a culture how they work in terms of efficiency and how they make things expeditiously,
Yeah.
like quick.
Very quick.
So definitely, I would definitely watch Baba.
And to gain pole position to be the number one superpower in the world, their stock and real estate market have to do well. So if they're pouring all this money into AI and then they are allowed to float and have free reign,
Yeah,
they could give us a tough time.
yeah, and they're going to find a company like we have in Nvidia, right? They're going to
find one.
They're going to find one. They're going to have one that they're going to create. It'll take some time, but they're going to find one.
Yeah.
Where they won't have to rely specifically on American semiconductors.
So what do you think the floor is for the pullback? We down like 10% Nasdaq. S&P not down that much relative to its all-time high. But I mean, there's still a lot more room to go potentially if we hit a bear market. So where's the reversal at?
For NASDAQ?
Yeah.
Man, I hate doing this because, you know, in the comments, they're going to be like, yo, that's good to never get there. I think NASDAQ could get to 17.9 if we don't correct course.
I mean, you get to 17.9 by the end of the week. It's been trending at like 300-point
drops easily
a day.
And the I won't say the scary part, but like that's a price where I would look to. If I was looking to enter, I would probably wait for that price if I am not already currently invested, or if the news turns positive. So like how everything works, you have a geopolitical agenda, then you have the American agenda, the capital flows, and as a result, the companies go up. That's why we spend so much time talking about the geopolitical and what's happening in the White House. Until you see a strong plan, and even in the Biden administration, I think the spending of all that money with Intel was a huge mistake. It was mismanagement of capital.
We're gonna need that back. We're gonna need that back.
So, yeah, 17,900 is where I would look to enter on NASDAQ, and we could continue to fall from there. Interesting thing on the technical side, if you look at the 1-year chart, going back to December 2024, there's been a triple top on the NASDAQ. For my traders, you know, if you get a triple top, normally that fourth time we don't make it there and we drop down 20 to 28%, and then we start to claw our way back up. We just happen to have a president that may make that happen a lot faster than we're used to.
That's crazy. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
The S&P, I mean, last week it was the first time it went negative for the year. So there's still some room to fall. I think around 57.80, that first resistance point. But if it goes lower than that, we could be on a downtail to 5,400, which wouldn't be good. Definitely wouldn't be good. So we haven't even hit a pullback yet in S&P. We're like, I think a quarter of a point positive this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tough. I know this isn't doom and gloom. Happy Monday. Thank y'all. Hit the like button. Share with 5 friends.
I got a cake.
Yeah, and it's Troy's birthday.
Yo,
but we just have to tell you the real.
They look like the emoji, right? Put the cakes in the chat, man.
And to your point, going back to the power relationships, especially when you're not the superpower anymore on paper and the economy is tight, can you tell them about how important it is to keep the relationships intact and it's not time for war? Because I don't think we factored in all of these countries aligning together at a perfect time.
Yeah. It's the number one way to prevent a war is not start one. Yes. And we talked about, we even named it, the title of one of the episodes is the bully. But after a while, like, a bully gonna get jumped.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that doesn't happen. So that there's some, democracy throughout the world. But the way things are looking, right? I'm interested in seeing, like I said, the retaliatory environment that comes from all this, because it is early and it is a hearsay, and we saw a delay. Is it just propaganda, or are these things actually going to come about? That's you always want to keep a positive relationship, or at least if it's not going to be positive, because you're not always going to like people, and you're not always going to like. Let's have a working relationship.
Yes, a respectful,
a working relationship. If it's not going to be a positive one,
that's why I even think the Zelensky move, it was in poor taste and terrible timing. Like, I know you want to cut off how much money he's receiving, There's a way to go about that, though, because you want to play the Putin like you're tough. Newsflash, Putin's okay, regardless of what happens.
Well, it's setting up the stage for the only person that he will talk to or listen to is the president.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm kicking him out and he can't come back till he's ready to talk peace. Then let's send him to Fox News and let him tell his real story. Oh, the stage is being set for, hey, I sat down with Putin and this is what we came up with.
Yep.
Sorry, what you think, man? This is your I don't even want this is your bag. I don't even want to go over in that bag.
Make the money, man.
48 laws of power.
Just make the money, man. Everything else work itself out. If the money stops flowing, they're gonna turn on them by June if the money starts flowing.
Absolutely.
Republicans.
There's a lot of infighting that's happening, right?
Right. If they start turning, then now you don't have congressional support.
I know congressmen are getting a lot of pressure. It's tough. Even in Texas, there's a lot of talk about what they can do to get them out of office already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of these things, huh? What are the top 3 companies you like in XLV?
Let's see if we got different ones.
You go first.
Top 3. I know you're gonna say Lilly, so I'm gonna say
That's
it for you.
Maybe for sure.
I'm gonna say Thermo Fisher.
Yeah, that's your baby. For
Been
sure.
saying that for a long time. And then
I know. Are we thinking the same one?
Well, give me 2. Then I'll go to 3rd.
I'll say United. I don't love the company. Don't like
United Health.
But for where it is in terms of price, it's not a bad place to potentially pick it up. The last time it got to this level,
Mhm.
439, it took off. So maybe if we get to 415, I wouldn't mind picking it up at that company. I think there's a lot of things that needs to be done better in terms of leadership, but they are a powerhouse company and do have some competitive advantages. I don't love the stock, but just based off price, around 415, 420, I would like to pick it up.
So, okay.
It's like the ugly duckling of
United Health in that one. So I was looking, I had AbbVie on there.
That's the good one. And the Anderson Stock Club.
So I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that one. Because it was gonna be between that and Boston, and I was like,
Boston's underrated.
I'm gonna go AbbVie. So those would be my 3 inside of it. But
Yeah.
I think that's a strategy that people don't overly utilize, right? When they're trying to find a company in a sector, go find the ETF of that sector.
Absolutely.
Look where the fund managers are actually allocating their money to. Who's the leader in that sector? There's a reason that they're putting the money into that.
The leader
right? There's a growth potential at the top, and you're going to see less growth potential at the bottom, or else the money would be allocated toward it. So if you're looking like, hey, I don't know consumer discretionary, well, go find a consumer discretionary ETF and look at where the funds are actually allocating their money. Those are some solid companies. Lilly sits at the top for a reason.
Absolutely.
Inside of XLV, which is the Spider Funds ETF.
And I'm not a fan of sector rotation, but if tech has an issue, healthcare is always going to be fine. Healthcare is always going to be fine. It's the number 1 GDP mover in our country.
Mm-hmm.
ABBV is amazing. Lilly's great. United has issues. I think there's still some value there. Thermo Fisher, underrated.
Mm-hmm.
So look to invest a lot more to healthcare if we do hit some tumultuous times in the market, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I do want to take a break to talk about Carnegie Hall. We had a conversation with Robert Smith, so that's always good to kind of get some insight from him. So he was real big on AI. He told me AI and stuff like that. He actually said that he wanted to sell us an agent.
Not bad.
Yeah. There you go.
The agent's calling us.
Langley. Langley.
Hold on.
Took it too far.
Hold on. He wired, y'all.
Biden, I'm gonna call you right back.
He wired.
Langley.
Gotta have the meetings in the pool.
Call it. But no, he was talking about AI. He was talking about how he was real big on personal agents, which we've been hearing about for a while. Like, but also one of the things that when I don't know where Troy was, I think he got mic'd up or whatever, because I had met him first for a couple of minutes before you came. We had like a conversation. When I first saw, you see somebody, most of the time it's like, just small talk, make a joke, whatever, And one thing that stuck out to me is that first thing, like I saw him, dapped him up. He's like, he said, tell me about what you were doing in Ghana. And then I start talking, and then he starts talking about, the African Union, and now, he spoke to them, and he started talking about Africa, his whole plans for Africa, like what he's doing, and then, he just starts talking, and then we get on stage and we talk, and then he had to leave because we moved his time up because he was going overseas, so he had to catch the PJ from New York to his home in Florida
that night. Yep.
That night, and then in the morning he was going back to Europe. So he actually moved the time up for him. But I have to say, very efficient with his conversation.
Okay.
Never wasting time. Never just
not being long-winded.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's vitally important because you see the difference between somebody that's worth $10 billion, right? Like his brain is moving like a computer, and it was like right away. Tell me about what you're doing in Ghana. I get on stage. All right, I gotta go. That's it. And it's like, we probably see him a couple times a year, so it's not like we talk to him every single day. So even for him, it's like, all right, I'm gonna see these guys. I've got some questions I need to ask them. I got some information I need to get out. Like I gotta give them some information. Okay, we'll resume this conversation later. So it's like for you guys, the audience, time is money.
Absolutely.
And time is valuable. So you can't waste your time with nonsense. And we talk about this so many different times, but that's just a prime example of like you're wasting your time. And at the highest level possible, like, they know that time is really, really a valuable commodity and they don't waste it. So just to have that conversation with him, A, it was dope that he was actually even tuned to know what he was doing. But B, it was definitely like, I took note of that. Like, I mean, like, it's like he didn't, he's not playing no games.
No. And when you don't think he's working, he's working. Like, I walked into the conversation, he was telling us about what he's doing on the continent and trying to help us be more efficient. I think every time we speak to him, he always hears what we're doing and he's trying to figure out how we can be more efficient. So even when I'm telling him, like, he's asking us a question on stage and I answer the question, he's like, do you have an agent? And I'm like, no, we don't have one yet. He's like, I'll sell one to you.
So help.
Like, I want to make y'all more efficient.
Yeah.
But
also, not to cut you off, he may know how important this time that we're in is. So
it doesn't fall short on him, and he understands it. That's why I think it's so important. Like, if you ever hear somebody of his caliber is going to speak, you need to be there.
Pay attention.
Like, you need to be there because I'm asking the questions personally because I want to know, but like I want the audience to hear his response from the highest level of thought inside of the technology space. Like we talked about racial equity inside of AI and the thought around that. And he was like, this is the perfect question. And the way he answered it was so eloquent. It made it feel like, look, everybody has a part to play. Like, yes, we're using it from a consumer standpoint, but there's a small part of the world that is creating every prompt for all these GBTs.
Yeah.
And that part of the world is a small little place in California called Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, damn, if they're creating the prompts and we're not there, then who's going to be answering for our culture, for our demographic, for any demographic, right? There's nobody doing that. And so trying to engage people to have that thought process, like, no, we need to participate at a different level. And it's not even going to be a left behind type thing. It's going to be like obsolete type thing. Like, we have to make sure that we're part of this. He's just a brilliant dude, bro. Just a brilliant dude.
Is the interview going to come out on YouTube anytime soon?
Not sure.
Might be a one night only. Might just be a one night.
You have to be there.
Only.
That's a fact. Sometimes you gotta be there in the moment. But then we also spoke to the CEO of LVMH. You actually said it wrong before. I said Louis Vuitton, but he's actually the CEO of LVMH, North America. So he's the CEO of all of those brands. And they have 48 brands under the umbrella of LVMH. So I was asking him, I was like, who gets the top priority? That was insightful too. He was like, we have 48 brands, but seven brands drive the ship. So he was like, you got the Hennessy, you got Louis Vuitton, like the main brands, right? So he was like, Emilio Pucci, like, no matter what they do, they're not going to make a difference in their portfolio, right? So you focus, this goes to investing.
Great lesson.
You focus on top tier.
Yeah.
Everything else will fall in line.
Yeah. If they do well, great. They don't.
Then you give more attention.
Yeah,
It's like portfolio allocation.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton, Tiffany's, they're gonna offset all this.
That's why I said going back to crypto, there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else.
Yep.
Focus on Bitcoin, everything else follows suit. You start going down to 37th and 109 meme coin, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
He gave me, so when we were leaving, and I was telling him like, this is a great story. And when he brought up Hennessy, he was like, yo, Hennessy is part of the culture. And like when we grew up, it was like, I remember Prodigy and Havoc with the Hennessy jersey.
Yep.
And I'm like, for me as a young kid, that's the first time I'm seeing Hennessy. He was like, no. It goes back to 1933. Hennessy was the first sponsor of the NAACP. And so he started giving me knowledge about that. And I'm like, damn. There's like just being in these spaces, like you learn things. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah, he's smart.
Smart dude.
He's smart dude.
Is there another big management lesson or CEO lesson that you took away and like, okay, I'm going to add this to my personal playbook or how I run my business?
That was only the first. So that was the first conversation we had. The next conversation we had were just some brilliant minds as well. Sanad Bovell, who's
super. Yeah.
Jeez. Well, look, listen, man, get in the room.
Yeah.
That would be my best advice. And get in the room and be intentional about what you're trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just by mistake, by being in that room, you're going to learn. Like everybody that was there, I got text messages, people saw us like, yo, y'all blew me away tonight. I don't know how y'all keep doing this, but like the information just never seems to get old and always feels like we need it at this exact time.
You?
Yeah, for sure. Well, AI. So the other gentleman that we spoke to, he was in the fashion world. He was saying how AI actually helped him as far as come up with the, like from a creative standpoint, it came up with the actual concept of the design for the handbag. So it's like he gave it the idea of like the spec of like how he wanted the handbag to look, and he actually built a 3D model based off of the AI prompt. So he was saying like, it's going to be more of that from an architectural standpoint, from everything, right? Like as far as not just AI answering questions and providing you information, but also thinking and actually the creativity aspect of it, like designing, AI design. AI design. So that was something that was pretty dope. But yeah, I mean, it was a bunch of different gems from all of them, really. Everybody that participated. So yeah, but definitely.
And Rakim to close it out.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
That's a fact. Shout out to Rakim. Okay. So what about Chinese stocks? Are you still looking to invest in Chinese stocks?
I think it's pretty much, I think this should be a hedge. I'm not saying that you should trade Apple or Microsoft for Alibaba and Tencent, but given the move over the last couple of months, and as this war intensifies, I think it would be a mistake to not. So maybe if Alibaba gets to like 121, I would take a shot there. But I think you definitely need some exposure for sure. Once again, the DeepSeek thing, I think, was a Trojan horse to tell you China's back. Now, I think Grok is probably better. And you get to keep your IP for now. But I think Alibaba and Tencent have to at least be on your radar to add your portfolio for the next 4 or 5 years if our economy does not do well. The hedge is healthcare and Chinese stocks as a hedge if Trump does not manage well these next 4 years.
Yeah, I think those are the two. If you are looking at an emerging company, I think BYD is something to put on your watch list.
BYD is.
I think Baidu is something to put on your watch list. But yeah, I think the moment that January 27th, we'll never forget. But the meeting that happened after amongst Chinese officials that was called after the DeepSeek fiasco, from our standpoint, was important because it marked an era of like, hey, we need to come together. This is who we're fighting. How are we going to combat it? And then a week later, you hear Alibaba saying they're allocating whatever amount of billions of dollars to AI.
Yeah.
Very important. I think you nailed those two, and then I would add those other two. And
if CNYA, which is an ETF, gets to like, I don't know, $15 or something like that, I would take a stab at that as well. But that would be like last measure. But Baba and Tencent are the ones. But BYD, I'm afraid because the car looks better than the Tesla. If we're just looking car for car, BYD is outperforming for sure. So, and if they make their way into America and begin to sell here against Tesla,
they're not gonna let them. They're not gonna.
Part of the deal.
They'll sell in some other countries
for sure.
But that's the thing, and that's where Tesla, from a worldwide standpoint, right, having EVs globally, right, charging stations, a lot of places don't have the infrastructure for it.
That's true.
Just yet. Like we can do it because there's open space in the middle of America. We can find space. We still have open space. You go to countries in Europe, and it's like, where are you going to put a charging station? Yeah. Right. So like, that's why the e-bikes make a lot of more sense, right? Yeah. Smaller, compact. You can charge that anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas, the EV space for cars is a little bit more difficult for countries like Europe. But
you think Tesla should come out with a motorcycle?
I think they should have a two-wheel vehicle.
Okay.
I think so. I think they definitely should. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Elon, don't invite Kanye nowhere around you the next.
That's a product that makes sense.
For sure. For sure.
So Microsoft and Amazon have a quantum chip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for the stocks?
Google, you're dead. Until you show a simulation. I'm not going to the meeting.
I don't know if you're gonna make it, man.
This doesn't bode well for Google. I think now, to be fair, I have a lot more faith in Microsoft, so I don't need to see the simulation. But for Amazon, I do need to see one. But in combination, it is a concerted effort to take away any market share away from Google. Mm-hmm. And we aren't talking about it enough, but like these tech wars are heating up. A lot of these companies are quietly teaming up against other companies, and Microsoft and Amazon are one example to try and take market share away from Google. And sometimes it doesn't pay to be the innovator because you end up with all the arrows in your back as a pioneer.
Yeah.
But I think this is a big sign that Google needs to execute faster if they want to be able to have a strong livelihood and strong stock over the next 10 years.
It's an interesting time. I was watching Ray Dalio the other day, and he was talking about the stages that we're in terms of technology, where we went from prompt engineering to large language modeling, and now inference is the thing.
Yep.
Right. So like inside of AI, inferencing is now it's not just answering the questions, but it's actually giving you reasoning behind it
and seeing it in real time.
Seeing it in real time, this is like now why you would need an agent.
Yeah.
And Ray Dalio said, and the next thing is quantum. So when I heard him say that, I'm like, oh damn, okay, well that's coming.
It's race.
The only thing is, how far away are we? Right? If we know it's the next thing, we know it's the next frontier.
She told me 7. Sanaya. She told me 7 years.
That's what
she told me.
Yeah. There's some time, and so I know like a lot of people, they're like, why is he gonna keep killing the quantum computing stocks? We're not there yet. We're getting there. We're just not there yet. So to hear that Amazon and Microsoft have it, to note that Google, their engineers are working on it, right? Yeah. You just have to believe that they are, because of the level of talent that has come from there. You would think that their announcement will be happening shortly.
For sure, but the poaching is the only thing that I'm worried about. Like they've had talent that shouldn't be poached, that have went elsewhere.
Retention.
It
goes back to the retention.
Yeah. So.
Yes. How many companies could participate in it though?
In quantum, maybe 5, maybe.
It's like it's all about capex.
Pricey. Oh my god, yeah. And quantum is really just the next evolution of the AI trade. AI trade's over for the most part. The players that have dominated it, because if you don't have enough money, most of these companies don't have enough money to build a data center, let alone their own AI.
That was my question. That I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. I asked this question the other night, and if you were in attendance, you heard me ask this. Was DeepSeek the first time we saw that the little guy could win in this space? And the answer was pretty interesting. It was like, it gave hope that you could do it.
Yeah.
But it's not from the traditional way that we're going to think. Like we keep going to the bank and trying to get loans. But what happens if we all in the room come together and say, we're going to create this? Or we go to the Saudis ourselves.
Or the government. Yeah.
Right. And we go to foreign entities ourselves and say like, hey, we have this idea. Can we build it?
Would change
Which would be a new approach. Like we haven't seen that done yet. It might be the thing.
And maybe a smarter route to go.
But it's the thought, because if you don't have capital, I don't care what you say, you're not going to be able to compete. I don't care what they said. If it costs 250,000 GPUs, you're talking over $6 billion of just on the GPUs, not the data center that houses them, not the machine and the connectivities, none of that. You're talking over a $10 to $20 billion project just to have it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's labor intensive, cost intensive.
We're talking about the wealthiest African American having 10.6 billion.
Yeah.
And Robert Smith having 10.2 billion. These projects are costing more than the net worth of both those guys.
Absolutely.
We got to have a new strategy.
Google, I love you. These are my thoughts and my views.
Remember he said that, please.
So.
What's your thoughts on bros after making all-time high?
I love this question. I know Josh had brought this up before. Hell of a rebound from 2024. Dutch Bros is a solid company. I don't know if it'll be a primary investment for me. If you got it at the right price, somewhere maybe around like $27, I'm not mad at it. But those of you who got in, great. I think it's time to take some profit. Solid company. I wouldn't put it in my top 10 or top 15.
Yeah.
It would be like in that C tier or B minus tier of stocks. But for those of you who profited from it, who listen to the show, congrats to you. But I think it's time to take it.
Yeah, got to give Josh his credit on this one.
For sure.
I gave him his credit on Toast. I'm giving him his credit on this one.
Yep.
That's a hell of a run up.
Yeah.
And he was saying that wasn't even that was probably 2 years ago on the episode he did on Market Mondays. So if you put that on your watch list and you actually put some money into that, you've seen the rewards of actually just watching the show, and taking the information and executing on it.
But time to take some profit, at least a third of profit. Take it off the table if you held it for a year or more.
So do you think Bitcoin can get to 72,000?
It could. I think so. Depending on what Trump says and if the crypto market, and I'm looking at a couple things, is how is Coinbase moving as a result? How's Robinhood moving? And it's also scary to see that we announce a reserve and then we don't shoot up a certain percentage. This went up, don't get me wrong. But for this kind of news, I would have thought we would have shot up 45%, 40%. And the moves aren't as parabolic as they used to be. So that's very telling. I don't know if certain market makers are suppressing for their own benefit, but it's just interesting. Like if I told you 3 years ago, the White House would adopt Bitcoin as a reserve currency, like 200,000, all the numbers they were saying 2 years ago, I think we would have hit that. So to see it not move as much, I think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback
this week.
It could be possible.
Okay.
Given what he says.
So, yeah. The cryptos are. I'm interested to see the CEOs that pull up to the summit.
I am as well.
Yeah, take note of that. Take note of the CEOs that actually go to this crypto summit. First of its kind.
And if Brian Armstrong is not front and center, I'm gonna be afraid.
I would assume he'd be there.
Yeah, I think he would be there.
Yeah, he'd be remiss not to be there. He benefits from this.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about the earnings for this week.
All right, so we got some big earnings, man. We mentioned Broadcom. They'll be reporting on Thursday. On Thursday, Marvel Technology will be reporting. CrowdStrike, one of those that's in the portfolio, will be reporting. And it's a big retail week. So we got Best Buy, we got Target. Target has been in the news. I mean, obviously, I think Friday they had the National Blackout Day, right? Support Black businesses only. So Target, we'll see. We've seen since that. When we talked about Elon and that salute, since that boycott has been initiated, we've seen that stock trickle down. And so we'll see what some of these numbers look like and how effective it was. And so they'll be reporting as well. And there's another one I circled on here. Costco. Costco will be reporting BJ's. So that retail space is up to bat. So we'll see those numbers. And it's interesting. You always watch, and I was listening to Frank Holland this morning. He was saying, look at the inverse between when when Walmart reports, and then when Target reports.
Oh, right, that's the trade. So Target short,
right? So
Walmart short Target,
exactly. So if you start to see a pullback, well, if they're not going there, where are they going? Where are the customers going? Another one of those inverse ones is Nike and Foot Locker. They'll be reporting. Foot Locker will be reporting on Wednesday. If we saw Nike's numbers pull down, and we know that's the number one supplier of retail. Athleisure to Foot Locker. Yeah. What do those numbers look like for Foot Locker? So that's one of those trades as well. Yeah, so those are our earnings for this week.
Target in 2021 was at a high of 261. It's currently at 122, down more than 50%. You better make some changes fast, so you're gonna end up in serious territory.
Big problems. And Zscaler in the cyberspace will be reporting as well.
And Walmart is snatching a lot more luxury shoppers.
They got passed by Amazon for the first time in the retail customer space.
Yeah,
which we knew was going to happen
for sure.
So that means that they passed FedEx from a delivery space.
I mean, we're talking about efficiency. You said you ordered something, you got it.
Oh yeah, I ordered that Saturday at 10, and it was here Sunday at 2.
Like,
yeah,
and not to have to deal with the crowd at Walmart at certain times.
Yeah,
efficiency.
Yeah, that's efficiency.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Anything else we need to cover?
We got some Pisces birthdays. I again appreciate all the love today. Thank you, greatly appreciate it. We got a couple birthdays. Shout out to my brother Ty. His birthday is coming up on the 5th. My brother Court. Shout out to Big Court. His birthday's coming up. Sanjay's birthday. I know Ty Davis. Shout out to our brother. I know Ty Davis. The shooter himself. His birthday is this week. And our brother. Shout out to Marathon Burger on their opening. Black Sam has his birthday this week too. Shout out to our brother, our Pisces brother.
One of the realest men ever.
I can't tell.
What?
I can't tell.
What?
Shout out to Sam and the whole Marathon team on the burger. We will be next time in LA. We will definitely be there.
Sure.
I already looked at the menu. I know what I'm getting, but I was so happy to see those guys.
Off that move alone, I'm gonna sponsor 100 meals when I go.
Kavi behind the grill. All these dudes, man. I saw John behind them. All the guys were there. So shout out to them. Happy birthday to all y'all.
Happy birthday, Sam. Happy birthday to the whole unit, man. And AZ, his birthday is March 9th.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Shout out to Sosa.
Rest in peace to Big.
Rest in peace to Big.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hampton, Virginia, we will be in your area Saturday.
Yes.
Hampton, Virginia, we will be in your area on Saturday for an event. It's gonna be dope. You deserve to be rich.
It's a fact.
Do remember, blackout on Wednesday.
Yes.
And we got a special episode on Thursday, Dope Entrepreneur, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Earning Leisure YouTube channel. So you guys tap in. Remember, long-term investing, dollar cost average, 2 tech, 2 index.
Stock club prices will be out Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Central, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you want to know where to buy, go to eninvest.com.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Rashad said before we started, Bitcoin going to 32,000.
I got him. I recorded it.
You never know. All right, guys. It's been real.
Love y'all.
Love.